I'm finally done with today's workout. That's definitely the kind of day that you want that day to be done very fast. Today was 12 rep deadlifts, banded deadlifts, and I like to add the band on the higher rep days, those lighter weight days, because obviously the lighter weight is so much easier to pull off the floor, but obviously adding the band to that mix does add resistance to the top. And so the band that I use, it's an Elite FTS red longer band, and I've done a little experimentation with it. I figured out that at the top it adds about 35 to 40 pounds of resistance. So for today it was 3 sets of 12. The peak 12 rep set was 225 with 35 to 40 pounds of resistance. So that lockout portion is fairly high volume at, I would consider that like a medium weight, around 260, something like that, 265. And then, since it is a leg day, and I am aiming to hit quads and glutes and hams with twice micro frequency right now. Today, I followed up those deadlifts with a Smith squat, a high bar, close stance Smith squat. I did not try to make this into more of a hack squat variation. I just tried to make it so if I was using the free bar, my feet would be in the very same position as if I was using that free bar, which, as gravity happens to make it, is right under my shoulders. I did not put the feet out in front. I actually find that if you put your feet out in front and you get extremely deep, like I like to squat as low as possible. You know, I have the mobility to squat as low as possible, and so when I squat as low as possible with my feet out in front of me, I definitely get that lower range of motion butt wink going on. And we all know, or maybe you don't know, but now you do, that if you get that going on where your tailbone curves under at the bottom of a squat, there's a lot of added pressure and stress on your lower vertebrae, different vertebrae of your back, and it's not a good thing. And even if you're extremely mobile in the bottom range of motion of your squat, I really find that if your feet are out in front of you on something like a Smith squat or even a hack squat, and you get to that very bottom, your tailbone does tend to round under, even if you're very mobile. So I actually like to just keep my feet where gravity would have them if I was under a free bar. And so that's how I did that. I hit 3 sets of 12 on the Smith bar, high bar, just regular stance squat, feet close together, slightly pointed out with the toes. I find that's comfortable on the knees and everything. And I do them both ways, and it definitely feels much smoother, safer, and more comfortable if your feet are right under you. And then what I did is, today is a higher volume day, higher rep day, medium to lighter weight, just to reduce the stress on the joints. Sometimes you find yourself getting a little bit achy, and then you know that it's time to lighten up the weight and just hit a volume day, and that's what I did today. So I followed that up with single-legged leg curls, seated leg curls, like I said, one leg at a time, 20 reps, each leg, 3 sets. And one thing about those leg curls too, another quick tip is on the seated leg curl, you do not want to let your butt or your lower back slide forward as you're doing your reps. If you let that slide forward, you're going to feel some back stress. And this typically happens when a person's going heavy or near failure on their set. And when a client comes to me and says, I was feeling my back on those seated leg curls, I know instantly all I have to do is just tell the client, make sure to push yourself back. Don't actually use the handles on the machine. Use the actual thigh pad. Push on the thigh pad, which is lower down. It gives you a lower push, and it helps tuck your lower back and your glutes back into that crevice between the butt pad and the back pad. You want to stay there. And every single time when the client fixes that form issue, their lower back pain disappears, and obviously they're very happy for that. And then they can just focus on their leg curls. So that's a quick tip on the seated leg curl that a lot of people don't know. When your form breaks down on the leg curl, the seated leg curl, that's where it breaks, and that's why you feel that lower back pain. Then I moved on to the leg extension. These were just dual leg standard traditional leg extensions. Again, 3 by 20. Since today I was really trying to get some close stance work in, like with those Smith squats, I did the close stance leg extension where I just kind of pointed my toes in a little bit and kept my legs as close together as possible, so my upper thighs were touching, they were rubbing together. And that, that does feel a little bit different than a different stance where like you had a wider stance or your toes pointed out. So I got that connection going really well when I do quad leg extensions. Every single time I like to pull up my shorts so I can actually see the muscles working. That is a quick tip on the leg extension. If you can see your muscles, or even if you have a light enough weight where you can actually take your hands off the handles and just feel the muscles, you get that improved mind-muscle connection. It tends to go a lot better, especially with those 20 rep sets. They're a great chance to focus in on the muscles that are working, and you get that signal that they're working, and that signal comes through in the form of that burn. So you get the burn, you know where you're working, you improve your mind-muscle connection, and it's just a great day when you do those 20 rep lighter weight sets. It teaches you a lot, and you can learn from that. Then after that, I've been hitting my traps actually on my leg days because I just don't feel like I have the energy to drop them in after all my upper body work on my upper body days. So I hit 3x20 on the traps, 225 pounds. Real just consecutive reps, not a lot of pausing, explosive on the way up, controlled on the way down, very controlled. Even on the explosive portion, it's more like a controlled explosion, just so I can really focus in on those traps. And of course I don't use straps on those just because then I get some added forearm strengthening benefits too. After that, I just finished up the day, walked out here, walked through a little bit of this garbage snow, and for the rest of the day I have a few client programs to knock out. And actually today Jess and I and our kids, we're gonna go to something called Playworks, and so the kids can play, Jess and I can be productive, hang out together at one of the tables, and knock out some of our work, some of our online work. So that's the rest of the day. Right now I'm just going to go home and hit up a fruit and veggie shake and a protein source. Should just be probably 8 ounces of meat, and I will just, grow throughout the workday. That's about it. If you have any questions about anything I mentioned, just ask me. You can contact me through email, ryan@growthstimulustraining.com, Facebook me on the GST business page or my personal page. That's under Ryan Smith Miller. It's easy to find because it's Ryan Smith Miller. I have my middle name in there too. And otherwise, if you're watching this anywhere else, like on YouTube, just ask me a question in the comments box. All right, I'm out.